Hello, and welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Pink Raven, but you can call me KJ, and today we're making a ball-jointed doll. I've always loved ball-jointed dolls and Alice in Wonderland, so I decided I wanted to do a series making Alice in Wonderland themed BJDs, and what better character to start out with than the White Rabbit, who ultimately starts the Alice in Wonderland story in the first place. I started off with a 3D printed doll, which was originally designed by a YouTuber that I watch all the time called Delightful, but the model was redesigned by Moonlight Jewel and then redesigned again by Dolly Pop, and that end one made by Dolly Pop is the one that I used. So yeah, this doll has been passed down a lot, or at least the file has been passed through a lot of hands. But ultimately, I thought it was absolutely adorable and would make a perfect White Rabbit for me. So I printed it off using the white filament that we had, and did a little bit of sanding, strung it together with some elastic, and then started blushing it with color. I added some pink into the ears, the nose, and around the mouth and eyes to give it a little bit more life. I also added some pink to the elbows and knees and other little joints, just to, I don't know, give it a little bit more something. Basically, how I did this was I scratched up some chalk pastels and used a very soft brush to brush it on. I always thought the pink little details on White Rabbits were absolutely adorable, so I could not miss this detail. Although I will be honest, I did not do a lot of planning going into this. I never really do a lot of planning going into dolls anyways, unless they are a pre-existing character that I'm doing, which I guess this technically is a pre-existing character, but it's my own take on him. So yeah, there was no sketches, there was no real plan. I just 3D printed a rabbit and was like, time to add color, time to just jump right into it. So that's what I did, because I'm very smart, people. But yeah, after I was satisfied with the color, I gave it another coat of Mr. Super Clear, which I sprayed the doll with Mr. Super Clear before I started body blushing. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, after hitting it with another coat, I went in with watercolor pencils to darken up a few areas and add a little bit more detail. I mostly stuck with reds and pinks though, because I didn't want to like steer too far away from my white and pink color scheme that I have going for the rabbit itself. Although I do steer away from that with the fabric of the clothing that I got for him. Isn't he adorable? He's so cute. I did want to add a little bit of toe bean. I don't think it came out too obvious, like it's not the most in-your-face detail, but I still think it was a cute little thing that I added, even if it's kind of subtle and doesn't stand out too much. And here's the fabric I chose. I decided to go with a more like plain shiny fabric for the vest that I planned on giving him, and then for the coat, I decided to go with a plaid because it felt right. It just felt right. I don't know why I'm not a fan of following patterns or like actually making patterns. And most of the time the way I make clothes is I just impulsively cut the fabric, or I use paper towels and I just draw the clothes I want onto the body and then cut the paper towels and use that as my templates. But I don't always do that. I'm very impulsive with my craft, let's be honest here. Just to prove that I'm impulsive with my craft, I couldn't even bother to get up and find proper fabric scissors. So yes, I'm using child safety scissors that I've had for years just sitting on my table for no reason. I don't know why. That's just the choice I made. But after I cut everything out, I decided to pin together his adorable little vest and make sure to actually fit him. Because I was a little worried about that. I did not really give myself too much leeway for the sizing. And then I also used the same fabric that I planned on using for the vest as the inside liner of the coat, because I wanted his coat to be all fancy and adorable. Because if a rabbit is going to wear a jacket, it's going to wear clothes, that shit's going to be nice. He deserves the highest of quality, and I did not provide. I'm gonna be honest, this is not the highest quality jacket, but I still think it turned out adorable for him. And yeah, mostly my main plan, the only things I had planned, like I said, I did not sketch this shit out. I just knew that I needed him to have a tailcoat. I don't know why, I am just so convinced that the white rabbit should always be wearing a tailcoat. I actually went back and checked the Alice in Wonderland book that I have, and it doesn't even mention specifically that he wears a tailcoat, and I was so convinced that it was canon that this rabbit wears a tailcoat. But I made him a tailcoat anyways. I was like, screw it, this little guy needs a tailcoat. So yeah, I threw that together for him, and I did not make him pants. If I can avoid making pants, I avoid making pants, because screw pants. I hate pants. I hate making pants so much. And he has weird little curvy legs. I ain't making pants for that. So our boy is going to have a nice fancy little vest with a high quality tailcoat jacket and no pants. And we're going to be okay with that. Because if he doesn't want to wear pants, he's not gonna have to wear pants. And that is purely because I just don't want to make them. Pants are the bane of my existence. For cosplay, for dolls, I hate them. I hate them. They suck. I will make jackets, shirts, dresses, all the time. Pants? No, thank you. While we were at the fabric store, because my mom found this really cool place nearby that had so much fabric, and it honestly had really great prices. But when we went there, there was this giant island or bin of pins and buttons, and it was so cool, and we were digging through that for so long. I just cracked my fingers. I don't know if the mic picked that up, but we found these adorable little rabbit buttons, and I thought they were just perfect. So this is the final coat. I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot to account for the collar of the jacket, and I had to last minute make that and sew it on, which is why it looks so janky and bad. Yeah. I was just too lazy to remake the whole thing, and this is what happens when you don't plan ahead of time, people. This is the result of my being impulsive and just jumping straight into it without actually making a plan, pattern, or sketch. Learn from my mistakes, because I won't. I'm just gonna do this again. I know I will. Anyways, for the eyes, I ended up using clay and resin to make my shiny little red eyes. I also painted them to be all pink and vibrant, because again, I want my white rabbit to be all pink and white and adorable. I also forgot to record this process, but I did make him a little pocket watch on a chain, even though he has no pockets. It's fine though. But yeah, I made him a little watch, and on the other side is a rabbit. I actually ended up using one of the rabbit pins and just pressing it into the clay to make a imprint, and then I just covered that in. The rabbit looks a little off, but I still think it's cute. So yeah, this is the final results of my white rabbit being all cute and painted in his little vest and his little jacket. And it does look a little jank, I will admit, but like I said, I did not plan this shit out. I just started making. I just went for it, and honestly, I don't think the result's half bad. He's adorable. I love him. He is my everything. He sits on this little bench I have that is on the top shelf in my apartment, and I love him so much, and I cannot wait to make the next one of this series. Because yes, that will ultimately be a thing. The next one will probably be the Mad Hatter. Also, don't expect that to come out anytime soon because I made this rabbit a year ago and already made this video once with my old model, but then I rebranded before I could actually upload the video, so I'm remaking it now with my current model. So yeah, it's been a minute. I do plan on continuing this and making the next doll, but it'll happen when it happens, okay? It's a slow process. I do things impulsively, I don't plan, but the Mad Hatter is already printed and on the way. In like maybe another 2 years. We'll see. We will see. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. If not, I hope you enjoy whatever you do next. And in the meantime, I will see you all in the next one. Bye!